You never want to follow the man.
No, you don't
want to do it.
No, you don't
want to do it. That's it's like today's an odd day in radio. You know why?
Why is that?
Today is not only Howard Stern's birthday, it is Rush Limbaugh's birthday today. You talk about arguably the two greatest, most important radio personalities in the history of the medium, and certainly in the modern history of the medium. The two greatest radio personalities of this era share a birthday, and they're both polar opposites, and they hate each other.
What are the chances that would happen?
But you look at both of those guys. What happened when Howard Stern left his terrestrial radio empire?
Well, they gave it to David Lee Roth, and it bombed.
Yeah. It was and then there was DLR, and then some places went with their own kind of local, regional thing. I think Adam Carolla did some. The Grover, I think it was the show Grover. Was that it, Jilly, in Cleveland? Is that the morning guy on the rock station? Rover. Grover is a character on the...
He's a Muppet.
He's a Muppet, and Rover is a dog. A stereotypical name for a dog. But Rover's Morning Glory, like, they all use kind of different things. It failed, and then, you don't want to be the guy.
No, you don't.
Whoever, there's never going to be another Rush Limbaugh. Like, I like Michael Berry. Michael Berry is never going to ascend to what Rush Limbaugh is, just like there will be none other. And Michael Berry is great. Just like Jim Rome, I think, kind of hit the apex of sports talk syndicated radio.
Yep.
No one's ever going to get to that point where stations just want to put you on. Now, like Cowherd is put on because he's on Fox, and these are Fox stations, and they play him.
Yes.
No one is going to hit that syndicated point again where, like, Jim Rome was on in all these huge markets because his show was just that good, and it kind of took over, and it was part of a movement. I won't do that. Michael Berry will not be Rush Limbaugh because no other human being will ever ascend to that $100 million a year power that Rush Limbaugh has.
No, they won't.
But somebody will try. Inevitably, they'll go, you know what? Someone's going to follow Rush Limbaugh because when Rush hangs it up, someone's going to have to do that 11 to 2 or 12 to 3 East, 11 to 2 Central. They're going to have to try to find, because I think it's through Premier Radio Networks, and I know I'm a little inside baseball here, but they're going to try to find someone, because there's a lot of stations that carry Rush Limbaugh. Hundreds of stations across the country.
I bet you they go Hannity.
They would not. They might, but Hannity's a disgrace.
Oh,
He's
he is.
awful.
It would bomb.
He's a horrible radio personality. He's a horrible TV personality. He's dreadful. But they may. But my point is, you don't want to be the guy that follows him. Like, if they called me and said, Josh, do you want to replace Rush Limbaugh? No!
They're not going to call you.
But I'm saying if they did.
Why would they?
They
don't even know you're around.
Okay, how about this? What if they called Michael Berry, our friend Michael Berry?
That could happen.
Michael Berry's on, 20, 30 stations, whatever it is now, through Premier, or through iHeart, right? If I were him, and they called me and said, hey, Michael, we really want you to come on here and do this show. And Michael, of course, first thing would say is, hey, Ramon. And they go, my name's not Ramon. And they'd say, what's your favorite macaroni? And they'd say, no, this is not what this is. We want you to replace Rush Limbaugh. And if I were Michael Berry, I'd say no.
If you were the czar, you'd say no.
Yes, because A, they're not going to pay you $50 million, right? Like that Rush, because of who Rush is, gets paid $50 million a year. They would cut that down by like 80%.
Oh, yeah.
They'd be like, here's 10. And they look, $10 million is a lot of money.
It is.
So, I mean, I'm not saying you'd scoff at $10 million, or maybe you'd be set for life, so maybe you do say yes to that. But you don't want to be the guy that follows the guy. You want the next dude to come in there and just flop replacing Rush, then you get to come in and be the hero. So if you're Bill O'Brien in this case, to go back to Bill O'Brien, why would you replace Bill Belichick? It's a guaranteed loss. There's nothing good. Now, some guys are able to come in and just, the situation is so good that it can't fail. Like whenever Bill Walsh leaves the 49ers, who took over after Bill? Was it Seifert? No, it wasn't Seifert.
No?
Was it Seifert?
It might have been.
Whoever it was that took over after Bill Walsh. And you know what? I think it might have been Seifert. But after that, you bring them in. You've got Steve Young, so you inherit a really good situation, and things are fine, right?
Yep.
So you're not, so you can maintain, but you're never going to be as high as that. If you were to replace Bill Belichick, you're not only replacing Bill Belichick, you're having to replace Tom Brady. And as we've seen, Bill O'Brien might be a genius when it comes to working with great quarterbacks like, we see here with Watson and like we saw with Tom Brady.
Not
we
everybody
also
can
see
do it.
that he's not a genius whenever it comes to working with Mallett and Hoyer, because the genius can take the guys who aren't all that good and make them good, or at least make them serviceable. That's not what he does. Like, I never watched these guys and said, boy, wow, they really ascended under Bill O'Brien. So if Bill O'Brien were to take that job, to take that gig, after Bill Belichick, That would be a disaster because you're guaranteed failure. You're following the greatest to ever do it. It's a recipe for disaster. Just like following Stern, just like following Rush Limbaugh. It's a disaster way